Welcome back to Storyova, the place where real stories unfold, emotions speak louder than words, and truth finds its voice. If you're new here, make sure you stay till the end because today's story is something many people never imagined could happen to them. Until it does, this is the story of a mother who trusted her son with everything and woke up one day to find her life quietly falling apart. All in her own name. I never thought I would be sitting here, telling this story. Not because it's unbelievable, but because it's painful in a way that's hard to explain. It's the kind of pain that doesn't come from strangers, but from someone you raised, protected, and loved unconditionally. My name doesn't matter much, but I'm a mother of two. I spent most of my life doing what any parent would, working hard, sacrificing, making sure my children had opportunities I never had. I wasn't rich, but I was stable. I had a modest home, a steady income, and most importantly, peace of mind, or at least, I thought I did. My son, Daniel, was always the charming one. The kind of kid who could talk his way out of trouble, who made friends easily, who always had a smile that made you believe everything was okay. Growing up, he wasn't perfect, no child is, but I never imagined he would be capable of what he eventually did. As he got older, things started to change. At first, it was small. He asked for money here and there, said he needed help with rent, with business ideas, with emergencies. I helped him whenever I could. That's what parents do, right? But over time, the requests became more frequent and more urgent. Mom, I just need a little help. I'll pay you back soon. Mom, this is a great opportunity. I can't miss it. Mom, please. I have no one else to turn to. And every time, I believed him. I trusted him. Because he was my son. There were moments when I felt something wasn't right. Late night phone calls, his sudden disappearances, the way he avoided certain questions. But every time I tried to confront him, he had an answer ready. A convincing one. I wanted to believe him. So I did. Months passed. Then years. Life continued as normal, or so I thought. Until one day, everything changed. It started with a phone call. A number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer it. But something made me pick up. Double quotes. Hello, is this Mrs. Thompson? Yes, speaking. This is regarding your outstanding loan payment. You are now 90 days overdue. I remember feeling confused. I'm sorry, what loan? There was a pause on the other end. Ma'am, you have multiple active loans under your name. This one is for $15,000. We've sent several notices. My heart dropped. I think you have the wrong person, I said quickly. I don't have any loans. But they didn't have the wrong person. They had my full name, my address, my social security number. Everything. I hung up, thinking it must be a mistake. But then another call came, and another, and another. Different companies. Same story. Loans, credit cards, debts, all under my name. By the end of that day, I felt like the ground beneath me had completely disappeared. I spent the next few days trying to make sense of it. Calling banks, checking records, going through paperwork. And with every call, the situation became more terrifying. There wasn't just one loan, there were several. Credit cards maxed out, personal loans, even a car loan I knew nothing about. The total amount, over $80,000. $80,000. In my name. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could ask myself was one question. How did this happen? And then, slowly, painfully, the answer started to reveal itself. Every account had one thing in common. The contact number listed wasn't mine. It was his. Daniel's. Single quotes. I remember sitting there, staring at my phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't believe it. But deep down, I already knew. I called him. Daniel, I need you to tell me the truth. He laughed nervously. What's going on, Mom? I've been getting calls about loans, credit cards, debts, in my name. There was silence. A long Heavy silence. Daniel, did you do this? At first, he denied it, said it must be a mistake. Said maybe someone stole my identity. Said he would help me figure it out. But his voice. It wasn't the same. It wasn't confident anymore. It wasn't convincing. So I asked again, Daniel, please, just tell me the truth. And then, he broke. I didn't mean for it to get this bad, he said quietly. Those words, they shattered something inside me. I needed money, he continued. At first, it was just one card. I was going to pay it back before you ever noticed. But then things didn't work out. And I needed more. I couldn't even respond. I just listened, as my own son explained how he had used my identity, my trust, my entire life, to dig himself out of his own problems, without ever thinking about what it would do to me. I was going to fix it. He said, I swear, Mom, I was going to fix everything. But he didn't, and now, it was all falling on me. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I had to face the reality of what had happened, not just emotionally, but legally, because as far as the system was concerned, the debt was mine. My name was on everything. My credit score. Destroyed. My savings. At risk. My future. Uncertain. I spoke to lawyers. Financial advisors, even the police, and every conversation led to the same painful truth. If I wanted to clear my name, I would have to report my own son for fraud. My own child, the boy I carried for 9 months, the boy I stayed up nights for, the boy I believed in, even when no one else did. I was faced with an impossible choice: protect my son, or protect myself. For days, I couldn't sleep. I kept asking myself, where did I go wrong? Was I too trusting? Too forgiving? Too blind? Or was this something I could never have prevented? I thought about all the times I helped him. All the times I said yes. All the times I ignored the warning signs. And I realized something that broke my heart even more. This didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly. Piece by piece. Lie by lie. Until there was nothing left to hold on to. Eventually, I made the hardest decision of my life. I reported it not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because I had no other choice. If I didn't, I would lose everything. The process was brutal. Statements. Investigations. Documents. Reliving the entire situation over and over again, and through it all, the guilt never left me. Even though I was the victim, I still felt like I was the one betraying him. But the truth is, he had already betrayed me, in a way that no one ever should. The aftermath wasn't easy. My relationship with my son changed forever. There are wounds that time can't fully heal. Trust, once broken like that, is never the same. Financially, I'm still recovering. It takes time to rebuild what was destroyed, but slowly, step by step, I'm getting there. And emotionally, I'm learning to forgive, not for him, but for myself, because holding on to that pain only keeps me trapped in it. If you're watching this right now, and you think something like this could never happen to you, I understand. I thought the same thing. But trust doesn't make you weak, and love doesn't make you foolish. Sometimes, it just makes you vulnerable. So protect yourself. Ask questions. Pay attention to the small signs, because sometimes the biggest betrayals don't come from strangers. They come from the people you trust the most. Thank you for listening to my story. If this touched you in any way, or if you've ever gone through something similar, you're not alone. After everything that happened, I wish I could say life simply went back to normal. But it didn't. Not even close. What people don't tell you about situations like this is that the damage doesn't end when the truth comes out. In many ways, that's just the beginning. Every morning, I would wake up with this heavy feeling in my chest. For a few seconds, I'd forget. And then it would all come rushing back. The calls, the letters, the betrayal, and the question that never left me. How could my own son do this to me? I started receiving official notices in the mail. Thick envelopes stamped with words that made my hands tremble. Final notice, legal action pending. Urgent response required. Each one felt like a reminder that my life was no longer my own. I had to respond to every single one. I had to prove, over and over again, that I didn't take those loans, that I didn't open those accounts, that I was a victim. Not the person responsible, but the system doesn't make that easy to them. It was simple. My name was there, my signature was there, copied, forged, but convincing enough. My identity had been used so completely that even I started to feel like I was the one at fault. I remember sitting at my kitchen table one night, surrounded by papers, documents, and unopened mail. I hadn't eaten all day. I hadn't slept properly in weeks, and for the first time, I broke down. Not just tears. I mean the kind of crying where you feel like something inside you is collapsing, where every emotion you've been holding back finally comes out all at once. Because it wasn't just about money, it was about trust. It was about love. It was about the realization that someone I gave everything to had taken advantage of me in the worst possible way. Friends started noticing something was wrong. You don't seem like yourself, one of them said. I wanted to tell them everything, but I didn't, because how do you even begin to explain something like this? How do you say, my own child stole my identity and put me in debt? There's a kind of shame that comes with it. Even when you know you didn't do anything wrong, even when you know you're the victim, there's still that voice in your head asking, how did you let this happen? Eventually, I had no choice but to open up. I told my closest friend. We were sitting in her living room when I finally said it out loud. My son did this to me. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. She just listened. And when I finished, she said something I didn't expect. This isn't your fault. It sounds simple, but hearing those words meant more than I can explain. Because deep down, I had been blaming myself for everything, for trusting him, for not noticing sooner, for not stopping it before it got this far. But the truth is, you can't always see betrayal coming, especially when it comes from someone you love. As the investigation continued, more details started to surface, and each one hurt more than the last. He hadn't just opened one or two accounts. He had created an entire web of financial activity under my name. Different banks, different credit cards, even online accounts I had never heard of. And the worst part, some of it had been going on for years. Without me knowing, that realization hit me hard. Because it meant that all those times I trusted him, all those times I defended him, all those times I believed his excuses, he was already doing this behind my back. I kept replaying memories in my head, trying to find the moment where everything changed, trying to understand when my son stopped being the boy I knew and became someone I didn't recognize. Was it when he started hanging out with the wrong crowd? Was it when he got into financial trouble and didn't know how to ask for help? Or was it something deeper? Something I never saw at all? I may never know. One of the hardest moments came when I had to face him again. Not as a mother, but as someone who had been wronged. We sat across from each other in silence for what felt like forever. He looked different, not physically, but emotionally. The confidence he once had was gone. In its place was guilt, fear, and something else I couldn't quite identify. Why? I finally asked. That was it, just one word, but it carried everything I felt. He didn't answer right away. He just stared at the floor. I didn't think it would go this far, he said. Eventually, I thought I could handle it. I shook my head. You used my name. I know. You put me in debt. I know. You could have ruined my entire life. His voice broke. I already did. That moment was complicated, because part of me wanted to be angry. Part of me wanted to shout, to demand answers, to make him feel the pain he caused me. But another part of me, the part that's still a mother, just felt heartbroken. Because no matter what he did, he was still my child. And seeing him like that, it hurt in a different way. But love doesn't erase consequences, and actions don't disappear just because we regret them. The legal process moved forward, slowly, but steadily. There were hearings, statements, evidence being reviewed, and through it all, I had to stay strong, not just for myself, but because this was the only way to reclaim my life. People often think strength means not feeling anything, but that's not true. Strength is feeling everything and still moving forward. There were days I wanted to give up, days I thought about just accepting the debt, just to make it all stop. But I knew I couldn't, because it wasn't just about money anymore. It was about justice. It was about setting a boundary that should never have been crossed, and it was about reminding myself that I mattered to. Eventually, some of the accounts were cleared, marked as fraudulent, removed from my record. It wasn't instant, and it wasn't complete, but it was progress. And in a situation like this, progress means everything. I started rebuilding. Slowly, carefully, step by step. I learned more about financial protection than I ever thought I would. I monitored my credit. I set up alerts. I became cautious, not paranoid, but aware. Because once something like this happens, you don't look at trust the same way again. As for my son, our relationship is complicated. We're not the same. We may never be. There are conversations we haven't had, apologies that feel incomplete, wounds that haven't fully healed. But there's also something else. A quiet understanding that things can't go back to the way they were, and maybe that's okay, because sometimes moving forward doesn't mean restoring what was lost. It means creating something new, something different, something that acknowledges the past, but doesn't live in it. If you've made it this far into the story, I want you to take something with you. Not fear, not anger, but awareness. Because situations like this are more common than people think, and they don't always come with warning signs. Sometimes they come with familiar faces, people we trust, people we love. So protect yourself, not out of suspicion, but out of self-respect. Check your accounts, ask questions, set boundaries, and remember, trust is important, but so is protecting your peace. This is where stories are not just told, they're felt. And if this story resonated with you in any way, know that you're not alone. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and take care of yourself.